with DrywallInstruction.com. Rue from Christchurch, New Zealand actually emailed me and requested that I do a small section on coating inside corners. I recognized when I looked at my videos that I showed coating in other aspects, but I didn't show the inside corner. So let's give it a go. First, I want to let you know that there is a tool called a corner trowel. And this tool is meant to, you get the mud on your trowel and then you coat your corner this way. I want to tell you that right up front that this is not a tool that I'm very comfortable using for whatever reason. I tried it a few times and just never could really get efficient at it. I'm kind of a speed guy and I have just different issues with it. There are people that really like these and claim that they work great. I'm just not one of those people. So I won't be using a corner trowel, we'll get rid of that. I'm gonna be using a 6-inch knife to show you a couple of different methods to coat an inside corner. I've got 2 inside corners here. The first method is gonna be coating one side at a time. So you'll coat one side of the tape and then let it dry, and then you'll coat the other one. If you don't have time, you don't want to take the time of letting that dry and do that, you wanna do it in one step, you can do that. It's very difficult to get a perfect corner. You probably won't get a perfect corner, but you can use a sanding sponge, and after we let that dry, I'll show you how to do that. So remember that when we're coating, we're using topping. We always use topping to coat because that's the soft mud to sand. And so we'll go ahead and put a little bit of mud on our knife, and we'll take it and we'll just hold it fairly flat. We can kind of do that in stages. And then once we have our mud on there, we'll go ahead and take our knife and press on the left-hand side and take off that edge, and then make one wipe down. So if you have any little imperfections whatsoever, you want to get those out, and that's your side of the first coat if you want to just coat one side first and then let it dry. So then we're going to go over here and we're going to show you how to do 2 sides at the same time. So again, I'm going to put mud on my knife. I'm going to coat that first side the same way I did the other one. Not going to get it too pretty the first time because I'm going to end up redoing it a little bit. So I've got that side on. So then I'm going to go ahead and take my mud and I'm going to go ahead and coat the other side. And when I wipe that, I can go ahead and wipe that side and get it good. You've noticed here that I've got a groove, and this is the challenge. I've got a groove on this side. So what I want to do is I want to take my knife this time. I'm going to hold it as flat as possible as opposed to out, because if I'm out, this right corner is going to dig the mud out of that side. So I'll hold it flat as I possibly can, and I'll just run it down the corner just like that. So as you can see, there's still going to be just a little bit of a gouge in the opposite corner of what we're doing. We'll go ahead and let these 2 dry and then show you the next step. Okay, now that we've got our mud dry, we'll go ahead and do the second step of the corner that we taped one side on first, and then we'll do the final step on the corner that I coated both angles, both sides of the corner at the same time. And what I'm going to do is I'll show you real quick a close-up of what the one side looks like. You can tell it's real clean, and in fact when the tape is dry and white, it's kind of hard to see there what's going on, but that one side is nice and clean up against the existing tape. And then on the other, you'll see here that you have a fine little gouge or groove in the very corner, and we're going to show you how to take that out. So what I'm going to use today is a sanding sponge, and a sanding sponge works really good on corners. You can, when you sand, you can run your sanding pole down the angles and go ahead and sand both sides if you'd like. For this demonstration, I'm just going to use my sanding sponge, a small spot. And so we'll show you how to get these corners looking good. On our angle where we coated the first coat first, we can go ahead and run a sanding sponge down this corner. Now, with the sanding sponge, you have kind of a sharp edge on that. So if you press this down square all the way, you're going to have a line out here as well. So you'll want to hold this corner. You'll want to kind of get creative with your sanding sponge and put the weight on the inside. That will also create, if you're pushing it too hard into the corner, this outside edge will make a line on the opposite side. So you just kind of need to work with it. Sometimes it's inevitable, you leave a little line and then you go ahead and sand it off. But I'll go ahead and take that sanding sponge and get that clean so I have a nice straight line to go up there against there. And then I'll take my topping and I'll go ahead and coat that opposite angle just like we did the first one. Now this time it's going to be necessary to take any of your excess off, and then you can make a final wipe down that's nice and square. If there's any imperfection, you can take it like that. Now when that's dry, again, I'll be able to take my sanding sponge and sand that out and take off any little bit of residue that I have on this corner, which is a tiny bit. I can take that off the sanding sponge. When that's dry, that'll be a nice square angle. So let's go over to the two-sided corner and do that. Now, same idea. I'll take my sanding sponge. I can take my sanding sponge and take my outside angle off, or outside edge off. I can do that with the sanding pole as well, just like we mentioned. I'll go ahead and do the same thing over here. Now, I can sand one side at a time, the full side first, and then on this corner, this angle is the one that has the little bit of a gouge in it. There's a couple of things I can do with that. I can take my knife corner first and just press it into it, and I can actually take down that edge a little bit with the edge of the knife blade. Not totally, but I could take some off. Then I could take my sponge and sand that down in the corner. Again, being careful that I don't make a big gouge over on this side with my square, with my side. And then I can sand that down to where it's just right in the corner. Right now I'm running my finger down this, it's a perfect square corner. Sometimes it's a little bit tricky to get that corner perfectly square. If you can't do that, you can still go ahead and take a little bit of mud and just fill the tiny groove, just like our skim coat, when I've showed you skim coats in the videos. You can just skim that corner really tight, and you can be ready. You don't really need to sand that even. You can just go ahead and texture over that. So this is a way to coat inside corners. Again, you can use the corner trowel if you like it, but if you're gonna coat with a knife, it's actually pretty fast if you're doing small projects. Obviously on whole home construction, you have taping tools, you have a nice corner tool, and that's a part of the taping tool set. But if you're doing it, if you're hand taping, then this is one way to do it. You can get your corners nice and square and clean. Again, you can just use your sander and take off any edges. Make sure that you're not leaving lines in it, because those lines will come through your texture when you do it. So just go ahead and get that corner square. I hope that this is helpful to you and that you'll check out what we've got going on at drywallinstruction.com, and we'll see you on the next one.